We'll begin our committee's meeting in 1 minute. 1 minute. 1 minute. All right, we ready? Okay, all right, if we're ready to move forward. All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the committee meetings for July 15th, 2025. The esteemed mayor and council present, Mayor Kurt Wilson, Councilmember Christine Hall, Councilmember Alan Sells, Councilmember David Johnson, Councilmember Sarah Beeson, Councilmember G. Lee Hills. I am Randy Knighton, Chief Administrative Officer, along with Chief Legal Officer David Davidson, and the Deputy City Clerk and Assistant to Council, Ms. Michelle Miller. The purpose of committee meetings are for city departments to convey information to mayor and council, discuss initiatives listed on the published agenda, as well as provide updates of information essential for city government operations. By ordinance, the committee consists of the mayor and council, as well as the chief administrative officer as chair of the committee meetings. And this is a public meeting, but not a public hearing. And therefore, while we certainly appreciate members of the public being present and tuning in, we do not normally take public comments at these meetings unless specifically authorized by mayor and council. Public comments, of course, are taken on the second and fourth Mondays of each month in mayor and council meetings, as well as the fifth Monday in open forum. We do encourage residents to please reach out to us for any questions that you have. We also encourage residents to access the web service portal for the city, and also Roswell365.com for a calendar of events. The first item on the agenda is the minutes for the June 24th, 2025 committee's meeting. We have a motion by Councilmember Beeson, second by Councilmember Hills. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? All right, that passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Item number 2 is listed on the regular agenda. Consideration for the mayor and/or city administrator to approve the Wexford Club Incorporated Dredging Assistance Policy Application. And that will be presented by Mr. Brian Watson. Mr. Watson.
Thank you, Mr. Knight. Good evening, Mayor, good evening, Council. Yeah. Good evening, Mr. Knighton. Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Council. The first item that we have on committee tonight is the recommendation for approval of the dredging assistance application. I thought it might be helpful for Mayor and Council, since there has not been one of these applications that have come before Council, at least in the last 5 years, that to kind of go over a little bit of the background before we actually get into the recommendation for approval. So I've got just a couple slides. So the dredging assistance policy, which is Article 24.6 in the Code of Ordinances, allows entities to get reimbursement up to a certain amount for their ponds or their lakes in their homeowner, in their HOA, or in their actually on their parcel. The policy is to share the dredging costs up to 50% or $500,000, whichever is less. There's 2 criteria that an applicant would have to meet. The first criteria is a drainage area of 100 acres that drain to it. The second criteria is a volume, so 20 acre feet. If an applicant doesn't meet one of these 2 requirements, then they can petition for mayor and council to have a special variance to get recommended for approval. When an applicant submits an application, they get approved, funds are not reimbursed back to the applicant until the project is completed. The reason for that is because the city oversees the project, makes sure that it's done according to what is in our ordinances. Also, it's important to know that the reimbursement is solely for dredging operations. So it's not reimbursement for any engineering work. It's not reimbursement for landscaping, improvement to the embankment or the dam. This is solely for the removal of and transport off of dredge material. The applicant must receive an LDP, land disturbance permit, from community development prior to and then it comes to Environmental Public Works to make a recommendation, but that LDP has to be approved before we come before committee. Show you, so just Wexford Mill Pond, this is east of King Road, north of Hardscrabble Road, kind of where that circle is. So in reviewing the application, Wexford Club, the pond actually meets meets both requirements, but the first requirement, the drainage area, is the one that actually is the largest. So there's 173 acres that drain to it. The application is for up to 3,000 cubic yards of sediment to be removed, which is approximately 300 truckloads one way, so it's 600 truckloads round trip. The applicant obtained a land disturbance permit in late June, submitted to Environmental Public Works early May of this year, but we waited until the land disturbance permit was approved before we, like I said, before we come before committee. The total dredging costs that are eligible for reimbursement is $218,000, which means they would get $109,000 if mayor and council approve that. One of the things that's important to note for council is, as Environmental Public Works is reviewing the application, one of the main things that I want to see is that the project is a benefit to the citizens, that it's not just an amenity for the HOA. So we evaluate if that lake or pond actually has a stormwater component to the overall system. So that's an important thing for us to review. What's also nice about this project is it improves water quality to an unnamed tributary to Hogwaller Creek, which is actually listed on the state's 303D list for impaired waters due to fecal and E. coli. So with that, staff is recommending approval of the application. And we've also made a recommendation of where the funds would come from to pay for this, which is out of the Erosion and Sediment Control Fund. With that, I'll take any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Watson. Yes, Mayor Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Mr. Watson, for your outstanding work and as our Public Works Director, and for the work you do around stormwater and how important you make that as a priority for the city today and tomorrow. And I think it's important to note is that I don't think one of these has ever been funded before, so this is a first, I believe, for the city.
It's the first that's under this ordinance since 2016.
2016.
Yes, sir.
And excited about it because I think that you made a couple of important distinctions. This is not for aesthetics. It's not to make the subdivision look better. It is clearly a stormwater strategy to serve the needs of the greater city and the stormwater strategy for the city. And so these are important when these come before the council. I recognize that the council might have some concerns at how many we will get. But what I want to do share is it's part of the overall stormwater strategy for the city. It's not just simply to take care of an individual subdivision. The other thing is that the requirements for the HOA when they go through this are pretty high. A lot of work has to go into it. The other thing, there's another note in there that I'm glad, Brian, that you put into this equation, which we didn't have previously, is a transportation bond. So that when you take 100 or 200 or 300 or 400 truckloads of dirt off-site, there's real damage to the public roadways, and that has to make sure that that burden doesn't necessarily fall on the taxpayers, that the roads get repaired, and that the people responsible for the project have the means in mind to do that. So really glad you added the transportation bond. Obviously, this is something that we want HOAs to look seriously at. This reason this program's in place. And I think it's a smart program, and it's a good program for the stormwater strategy of the city. I will be obviously supporting this from my perspective. Thank you for your work.
All right, thank you. Any further comments or questions for Mr. Watson? Yes, Councilmember Sells.
Thank you, Mr. Knighton. Just one quick comment and a question. You know, stormwater is an emerging issue, certainly in my experience, and I know you've been focused on it a long time, but it's a relatively new issue, and it is a limit to economic development, is it not? The whole stormwater question is always one of the top questions. So projects like this may be also a benefit to our economic plans, as depending on where they may be and how they fit into the future. So it's a limit, and this is another way for us to manage it in cooperation with those who have facilities in place. Is that fair?
I would say that wouldn't be the number one thing that we'd look at. We'd want to make sure that it's for the stormwater management system, but absolutely there is a tangible economic value to making sure that lakes and ponds or any stormwater management system is actually still capable and operating as designed.
Right, and we as a city have a responsibility for the whole area, and this would be a part of that. Thank you.
Yes, Mayor Wilson.
Yeah, just want to give you an also credit because these projects have the capacity for how you handle the dredging material. And this project's a good example of really limiting it to about 300 truckloads of dirt being removed off-site. Sounds like a lot, but based upon the volume of these type of projects, it's very easy to get much, much larger in scope. So again, good job by Wexford and the folks that they used in their planning and keeping the truckloads to a minimum. 300 is a very, very manageable number. But again, you putting a transportation bond on it is a very important part of the requirements to make sure that that's there, because there is a cost, and it does have to be, somebody's got to pay it. It doesn't need to be the Roswell taxpayers. So I'm really glad you guys have put that into equation. And Alan, it's a great point because, you know, if 40 or 50 years ago we'd had the magic crystal ball and it looked at the stormwater impact and effects of economic development, particularly in a community like Roswell, where you have so much 40-year-old inventory.
Big river.
That's right. And you look at if we had put the same kind of stormwater planning, obviously, which happens often with problems, you don't see what you don't know, or you don't plan for what you don't know because of the cost or the sophistication of the team in place. And this is a big change in terms of the sophistication of the planning that we have for stormwater. And you're right, stormwater is an emerging issue. We've talked about it before. We probably don't talk about it enough because we're going to be talking about it more and more. And the reality is that cities like Roswell, communities like Roswell, are going to either get into not only the planning, but figuring how to pay for stormwater and addressing issues across the board. Because if not, somebody's going to end up paying for it. And this is a really, really smart kind of private-public partnership where the burden is shared by the HOA, but also by the taxpayers, because it does affect the whole city. And it's easy to think it's not in my area, but stormwater has massive ramifications. And I'm really proud of this city and the planning, the strategy, Brian, of you and your team.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you. Any further questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll entertain a motion. Motion by Councilmember Sells, second by Councilmember Beeson. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? All right, that passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Item number 3, consideration for the mayor and/or city administrator to award a contract to Webb Construction for construction of the police permanent evidence facility in an amount not to exceed $2.2 million. Mr. Watson.
Thank you, Mr. Knighton. This project will construct a new 10,500 square foot multi-use facility for police and will be located on the northernmost part of the new public safety headquarters, which is located at 1080 Holcomb Bridge Road. This facility will include not only permanent evidence, but a motor barn as well as a CrossFit gym. The contract with Webb Construction will include both the building design as well as the cost for construction. Webb has an extensive experience in designing and constructing similar facilities for the military and private businesses, and staff recommends awarding a contract to Webb in an amount not to exceed $2,200,000. Staff also recommends allocating $220,000 in construction contingency to allow for any unforeseen circumstances that will arise during construction. With that, I'll take any questions.
All right, thank you, Mr. Watson. Any questions or comments for Mr. Watson? Yes, Mayor Wilson?
Sorry, just a simple question, Brian. It's not in the presentation. If approved by council at the next meeting, when would design and construction begin, and when it would be when would it be completed?
That's a good question. We actually already started design, sir, because we need to, we got some time limits that we're working with. So the site design is actually already started with another vendor, but the construction would be completed by the end of the year.
So by December 31st, 2025, the police permanent evidence facility will be in place
That is correct.
at the summit.
That is correct, as well as in evidence, where the current evidence is located right now, across the street will be moved over there. So not just the building, but also
All the evidence will be moved.
Correct.
Which is a massive undertaking.
a huge undertaking, and I'm so grateful for Chief and his team to be able to take that part on.
They've done okay.
All right. All right. Any further questions or comments regarding this item? Seeing none, we'll entertain a motion. Motion by Councilmember Hill, second by Councilmember Beeson. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? All right, that passes unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Watson. The next item, item number 4, consideration of a resolution authorizing Fulton County to conduct the municipal general election on November 4th, 2025, and associated runoff election, if necessary, on December 2nd, 2025, and establishing authority for the mayor and/or city administrator to sign a contract/intergovernmental agreement for conducting the election and runoff to include the cost of one additional advanced voting location. As you will recall, back in March of this year, you as a body voted to add an additional advanced voting location at East Roswell Library for the November 4th, 2025 election. Obviously, we've spoken about this before, and this is just the actual intergovernmental agreement, contract, if you will, to move forward with Fulton County administering the election in November. The monies that are, or funds that are required is the $41,770 for the additional voting location, along with an estimate for the runoff election. The total cost right at about $254,000, which is accounted for in our 2025 budget. Any questions or comments regarding this item? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and move forward with the motion. Motion by Councilmember Johnson, second by Councilmember Beeson. Any further discussions? Seeing none, all in favor? All right, that passes unanimously, and that then does conclude the committee's meeting for July 15th, 2025. We'll entertain a motion of adjournment. Motion by Councilmember Beeson, second by Councilmember Sells. I think that's always. All in favor? All right, passes unanimously. Thank you very much.